Hello and welcome to Natural Sciences. Today's topic is cells in tissues, organs, and systems. Did you know that embryonic stem cells are embryos that were actually taken out during IVF and were never used afterwards? So they are used to develop cells for different organs. So before we move on to the lesson today, these are the things you need to know by the end of this lesson. Firstly, you must know the difference between micro and macro organisms. You should know how to explain how cells give rise to organs. You should also be able to explain what are stem cells, explain why cells come in different sizes and shapes, and lastly, you need to be able to describe the relationship between cell structure and the function of the organelles. So this is our concept map and it tells us how our lesson is structured. So the first thing we are going to tackle today is the different shapes and sizes of cells. We are then going to move on to the specialization of cells, looking at tissues, organs, systems, and organisms. We are then going to move on to the microscope and the history and discovery of the microscope, and then we are going to look at microscopic and macroscopic organisms, and lastly we are going to look at stem cells. So before you go into the lesson, these are the things that you should know up to so far. You should know that the cell is the basic unit of life. You should know how to identify and draw a cell, how to draw and label both the animal and the plant cell. You should also know the function of the different organelles of the cells as well as the structures, and also know the difference between a plant and an animal cell. So just to check if we have that pre-knowledge, we are quickly going to do an activity where we are provided with a cell and we have to fill in the labels for this. Our question says we need to provide labels for the animal cell structure and organelles. So as you can see, if you remember the previous lesson, you would know that this is an animal cell and our duty is to try and fill in the empty spaces or to fill in the labels for this cell. So we are going to jump into that. So this is our labels. So basically what we are seeing here is the vacuole. That's the first organelle that we come across, the vacuole. And then we have a cell membrane, which is the outside covering of the cell. And then we have a nucleolus, which we find inside the nucleus. We also have the nuclear membrane over here, which is the membrane that covers the nucleus content. And then we have the DNA material coming from inside here. So all of these make up our nucleus. Right. And then we have the cytoplasm of the cell, which is the liquid medium that allows chemical reactions to take place. And then we have our two mitochondria, which are responsible for energy production in the cell. So if you remember that, then you are good to go for this lesson. Right, so these are the new terms that you are going to come across during this lesson. The first one is unicellular. Uni means one and cellular means the cell. So this means consisting of one cell. The second term is multicellular. So multi means many, which means that it consists of many cells. And the next one is macroscopic. Macroscopic means large enough to be seen with the naked eye. The next term is specialized, which is to take on a particular function and only perform that function. So it is basically being designed for a purpose and fulfilling exactly that purpose. And then the last term is stem cells. These are cells that have the ability to divide and develop into any different cell type. So we are going to leave it here for now, and I'll see you after the ad break.